Good day, my name is Ricky Ray, just a curious observer. Since the world went into lockdown March of 2020, at least in my neck of the woods, we experienced quite the cultural shock, didn't we? Here in America, one of my initial impulses was to scribe down my thoughts, my questions, wonders, and eventual poems. My goal is to present them here for you, reflect on how the mind compiled such thoughts, and ultimately invite what comes to mind for you. This poem is called The Landscape of Today. It first arrived through me on the 2nd of March, 2021, 6:17 in the morning, Tuesday. It goes like this. What occupies our attention? When vacant, where do we find its salvation? Pinging here, buzzing there, information overload everywhere. Overlapping layers of misinterpretations, trapped in tribes, chained from communication. Oh, the presence of a newfound virtual landscape. What hunger must become just to escape? A lot of the things that come to mind for me, especially with the first question, what occupies our attention? I'm reminded by how much of our viewing into the world, within our families, within our friends, event here, fundraiser there. Hey, come out tonight. There's going to be a show, music here, comedy there, poetry there. And of course, even the weather. Where have those eyes been filtered through? Especially within our recent memory prior to the internet. Really, where was it? It was not this. It was through a bigger piece of glass that was a piece of furniture that had no way of gauging even your exact location. And this thing does. The mere fact, wherever it is you're watching this, could not exist in the 90s. Even just a thought. Imagine going back to your past self and just saying, hey, here's the kind of technology that is going to be accessible. It's going to be so normal to you. It's going to be so whatever to you, to the point where you could send immediate notifications to others and they actually receive it within that moment. Like, what? What a new landscape. And now, what occupies our attention, has it now become reflective of that? Has it become its exact parallel? Wherever our attention goes, information flows.
Information flows.
And not just a one-way street, two ways. Like really, what is active in the phone that is beyond our field of awareness? Beyond our field of noticing, oh yeah, I have this app thing, I have this phone that collects valuable data for our benefit, for our shopping and all this good stuff. The mere portal of allowance, the mere accessibility, what was inconceivable is entirely our reality. Pretty cool. Where do we find its salvation? Think about those times where you don't have your charger and you're out and about and you're like, oh goodness, I don't have my phone, I don't have my GPS, I don't have anyone to call. I have returned back to reality. I forgot my phone, I didn't have a charger and it was discharged. I didn't charge it last night. And all of a sudden you're out without that vine of power. And what are we left with? The always awaiting reality. And how amazing is it that we've stumbled into such virtual nets and webs. And therefore, because we can still communicate with each other, especially as we were in lockdown, it granted sanity. Hey fam, hey friends, how's it going? It grants sanity. Puro grant. And let's go back to reality. Imagine real quick, all of a sudden, all phones just zapped into non-existence. What are we left with? Reality, lockdown. What then? And what of sanity? Notifications. What was entirely inconceivable now fills our reality. What a miracle. Woo. Therefore, we may know what we want to know. May the reception of the always awaiting information that we receive as reality be conditioned through and by our phones. The new virtual highways. So where do we find its salvation? The deliberate practice of unplugging from the great virtual vine. For example, meditating. How often do we meditate? Aside from the sleep every night, how often do we drive around and deliberately leave our phone in the house just to remember what reality is like within the realm of experiencing time? Pinging here, buzzing there, information overload everywhere, especially that. Putting that aside, does anyone else also wonder Are we living in times where we're through such portals, such highways, such virtual reality? How entirely possible we are within a purposely polluted information space from all angles, all walks of life, from all convictions, and especially within the political realm. Clearly, there's friction, especially amongst the polarities. Is it stemming from these overlapping layers of misinterpretations? It's as though there's a trapping of tribes from such overlapping of misinterpretations. Oh, such trappings, does it reflect a chain from communication, especially onto each other? We all know what family gatherings are like. And again, perhaps it's always been there. Oh, ever is it more so apparent? Perhaps such appearance is the presence of a newfound virtual landscape. Yet, what hunger must become just to escape? And I wonder what comes to mind for you when you hear to escape from, to escape, but from where? This presence of such landscape, it's not like it's a place you don't have to go to. It's become a means of communication, of production. Ultimately, did you make this? I didn't make this. Who made this? Who made this technology? I don't know anybody personally who did. And yet merely we arrived into such reality, into such world, into such time where it is just here. It just is here. Now what? What does that mean? And how entirely possible can it be controlled? And perhaps the escape from, may there be as though a key that unlocks such chains from communication, especially the further there is conviction, how much yet in conflict are we divided by it? A recognition of those convictions. May we step back and observe curiously, because ultimately who really knows what to make of these times? They just are. How unprecedented to the point of numbness have these historic events just continually unfolded. Will we awake, or may we remain its past tense woke? Let's awake, curious observers. May wakefulness be sustained each day, no matter the circumstances, no matter the tranquility of gradualism. Well, that's what came to mind. What comes to mind for you? If you're a curious observer, you already know. Leave your comments below and share with somebody. Dale. Hope you enjoyed this reading. You're invited to share your thoughts and follow at Ricky Ray, Curious Observer. And on Twitter, Puro Just Curious. Every week I am posting content. Some weeks are poetry, as we're watching. Other weeks are on my podcast, Curious Observer Podcast, where we share conversation, cultural, societal, political, historical, whatever flows through this loco, with the spirit of curiosity. And virtually every day, posting questions, thoughts, wonders, poems, observations, always welcoming thoughts. Just curious.